Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, question. Why are these characters that, in a lot of ways, I felt kind of like they were throwaway characters? Why are these dead characters meaning so much more now that they're dead than when they were alive? Um, and this is the reason why I like the comment section. Because when people write comments, um, it gives me a different perspective, and I try to use that sometimes when I'm doing, another review. Um, so I'm gonna sort of, well, not really read out your comment, but this is um, Jay Carley. That pretty much just kind of said what a lot of people are sitting there thinking, that Dev and Dustin were kind of filler characters. You stop and think about it. What do we know about Dev except for the fact that he saved Sonny and he was from Turkey? You know? Do we know if he had any brothers or sisters, mom or dad, or like foster anyone? Like, we didn't really know that much about Dev. It's like he came to Port Charles, he was there. He was there for like Jocelyn's love interest. That didn't pan out, and then he was just there. And we know very little about Dustin, except for the fact that he knew Brooklyn. That was about it. Other than that, he was there to set up as Lulu's new love interest. And then when he decided to bring back Dante, I don't know. I felt like the writers were just like, you know what? Instead of just doing this whole love triangle, let's just kill him off. Let's just make things a lot easier. I felt like that's the route that they decided to go. Now, with that being said, let's kind of get into it a little bit with, you know what? Let's start with a scene or characters that I actually really enjoy. Not to say I enjoy the other ones, but, that is Valentine. I gotta sit there and say he is the MVP of the episode. He figured, he was like, you know what, listen, I can't sit there and stop her from drinking. She's gonna sit there and drink and drink and drink. The best I can do is sit there and slow her down. So, and granted, yeah, in the beginning, when he said that letter, she was kind of like, whatever, but then, she did acknowledge that, like, they do have, like, a connection, even though they're not blood. And so, there was some talking, and then Valentine decided to play some sort of game about, like, who has it worse or whatever, and it got her to stop drinking. Or it got her to slow down drinking for a little bit. And even though that Sam initially came in and started chastising him, when she came back downstairs, she saw that she was passed out, and, in her bitchiness, she did actually thank him, for just, staying with her. So I was like, oh, wow. Well, I didn't see that coming. So, full of surprises. I really did not actually think that she was going to thank him at all. But she did. So that was cool. Let's talk about Julian for a minute. Jesus Christ, Julian. You know what? I practically, at this point, ever since he tried to kidnap Wiley, and granted he changed his mind, but the fact that he tried to kidnap Wiley, I was like, alright, I'm just gonna kind of just write this character off, because, like, it just, your life is pretty much just in the toilet at this point. And he met up with, Ava, sitting there saying, hey, you gotta hide me at Windermere, you gotta hide me at Windermere. It was like, first of all, you need to tell me what you did. And, this is when, Julian came clean. Julian was like, there were some people like, Dev, and he said it in this, like, sort of callous way. Like, Like, he was just some sort of unfortunate accident. It was like, you killed a child. Like, dude, what? I mean, granted, you know, we're going to kind of pass the buck to Cyrus, but you were pretty much responsible for killing a child, and you just said it so callously. You know, and then he was like, oh, and, you know, Dustin or whatever. Ava was livid. I was at this point, I was like, if Ava would have been like, you know what, I can't help you, I would have been like, that's not what happened now. She pretty much is just like, after she chastised him for pretty much ruining his own life, you know, towards the end, you know, Julian was like, you gotta help me, what is it gonna be, we're running out of time, and then of course he gets a text from Cyrus talking about, we need to talk. So he looks at his sister, was like, are you gonna help me or not, pretty much. And then it ends right there. Now, let's talk about Brad. For those people that I know, I don't like Brad. I don't like Brad at all. I think he is a scumbag. And this isn't the Wiley thing. Yeah, that was bad, but as bad as that was, I could sit there and kind of chalk up a little bit to like grief. A little bit. I mean, poor decisions, but he could always change it around. No, I'm talking about years back with the whole Kiki and Michael thing when at first they were cousins. My point is, I don't like him. But he met New Lucas. That's not the name I gave him. That is the name that Brock TV gave him. And I'm using it because it just makes sense. So, you know, after, you know, Lucas was sitting there talking to Brett, Lucas, you know, once he finds out that, you know, he's there or whatever, he goes to go and see him. He looks at his chart. He's like, ah, you're lucky to be alive. Alright, well, guess that's pretty much about it. And then he gets a call from Dinah. I think that's her name. You know, it's really bad. I didn't know that girl's name. I've seen her tons of times, and I had no idea what her name was. Until they just said it today. I'm not gonna lie, I just kind of feel like that's the first time that they actually said it. But yeah, she pretty much called him, and he was like, alright, well, bye. And then, Britt came back in there. Now, Britt didn't come in there right away. Never mind, Britt was actually meeting up with Sonny and Jason. And, you know, she was there telling them about Cyrus and stuff like that a little bit. Well, she was talking about... One second. Now I think about it, I don't know if she talked about... I know she did talk about Julian, though. And she was like, oh, yeah, by the way, Julian was the person that helped, you know, with Wiley's, you know, he knew and he didn't say anything to you. So, when she said that, it was like, well... Julian's done. Julian is so done. And you know what? To be honest, his life isn't going... There's no uphill at this point with Julian. There's no redemption arc. There's nothing he can fix. Okay? Either Sonny is going to take him out, or Cyrus will. Because you know Cyrus does not like loose ends. But yeah, she pretty much just kind of just dropped him down, you know, dropped his name there. And I don't remember, and when she came back to Brad's room, and she was like, you know, good news, I got, you know, somebody to sit there and protect you. And then Brad was like, well, you know, that's still bad, because what am I going to sit there and tell Lucas once, you know, he finds out that Sonny was the one that killed him? And, you know, at the time she was like, oh, crap, I didn't think of that. But I'm like, bro, you know what? Listen. Somebody was going to die. Okay? And it was either you or Julian. And seeing how you're the person that originally kidnapped, you know, Wiley, and you kept him for like a whole year and change or whatever, you might want to start counting your blessings. And you might really want to sit there and start to be more grateful to Britt, you know? But whatever. Now, when Carly was at the scene or whatever, she was sitting there saying that, we gotta sit down and talk Brando. So that's what they did. They went to go to the hospital, and Carly found Brando and told him the news, and that was sad. Because, they didn't really know each other, but the time that he's just been together with Dev, he really did like him, They got to do that whole bonding thing about talking about, girls and, stuff, school or whatever, and, he had a connection with him. And so that was actually a little kind of sad. And this is where we go back to, I felt like his death meant more than him being there, what else? So, when Maxie gets to the scene, Maxie and Peter get to the scene, Mac tells them that, they're at the hospital, and they go to the hospital, right? 1 second. They go to the hospital, and, Maxie goes to the hospital. 1 second. So, Maxie goes to the hospital, and Peter stays there to cover the story. When Maxie gets in that room, I feel like she already knew. She already knew before she really said anything. She already knew. And after they hug and stuff like that, spend some time talking, Lulu tells Maxie about, him proposing, and, then Lulu tells Maxie that, she was going to say no. But not because she didn't love him or anything like that, just to give her some time, give her some space, to kind of just sit there and just think of, everything was just so crazy and out of control that she just kind of needs some space and some distance to kind of, get her bearings. And then this is when Maxie says, well, you need to sit there and tell Dante how you feel. And I'm just like, what? This is why I feel like, this is why I sit there and say the words like throwaway character. This guy just died. And this is what Maxie chooses to say? Oh, you should sit there and tell Dante how you feel because, if we learn tonight that, time is precious and things of that nature. No, you can't use that. You can't use that whole, time is a fleeting moment BS. Are you kidding me? This guy literally just died. And your response is, yeah, you should sit there and tell Dante that you're still in love with him. I'm still baffled by that. And, they talk some more. And, Lulu's like, Dante needs to make sure he needs to promise me that he's never going to leave like that again. And, Maxie's like, you're asking for the impossible. And, they talk a little bit, and I think the scene kind of ends a little bit. And at some point, Lulu talks to Dante. This is when he comes back from this is when he goes, I guess he left. He left, he went to go talk to Peter. And he gives him some, I'm not going to lie, he gives him some really veiled threat. When Peter's like, so, did you mix the accent and stuff like that? And then Dante's like, no, I got other uses for my skill set. And this is the second time that he gave him the death glare. The first time was, so many good people die and bad people just get to walk around just living their life. Oh, damn, Dante, could you... Why don't you tell him how you really feel, bro? Are you serious? And that's the second time. But yeah, he like gave him like 2 like death warnings, and I'm like, Peter, you can't. And the second time he just had that look at him, like, I'm like, Peter, you're not a slow person. You had to have gotten that part. Like, that wasn't even subtle at that point, bro. It just wasn't. Anyway, at some point, Dante comes back to the hospital, and Lulu, talks to Dante. And they talk for a little bit, and then I don't remember who talked to who. Now I'm simply thinking about it. But at some point, Lulu was holding her head like her headache from earlier that she was sitting there talking about was getting worse. And then she's sitting there talking to Dante. And she was just about to sit there and say, I love you. And then she passes out. And I'm sitting there thinking, so are they actually going to kill off Lulu? And this is the thing, somebody at my job walked up to me and, she was, because we talk about soap operas and stuff. And she was like, what was the point of bringing Dante back if they were just going to kill off Lulu? What was the point of that? I gotta be honest, let's put it this way. If they kill off Lulu, I literally would have been like, what's the point of bringing back Dante? You know how I feel about characters that just flounder around. Unless he somehow gets into a new love interest with, I don't know who, unless they just bring in a character. Are they just going to actually kill off Lulu? Because what was the point of bringing back Dante? I know that's on everyone's mind. It cannot be just on mine. Or she may just be into a coma or whatever. I'm not sure. And then they'll just switch actresses at some point. And it's crazy, too, because I was going on the woman that plays Lulu. And, she had a photo of her, like, the dirt hair or whatever. And I don't know. I'm trying to follow this whole thing to see when they're just going to sit there and switch out these characters. Or switch out these actresses when they do. But, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Lulu's character. This whole thing is just wild. Yeah, and that's pretty much about it. A couple of last scenes was Sonny just like, he's just sitting there thinking of how I'm going to sit there and deal with Julian. And, I mean, if I haven't said this before, Julian's a scumbag. Okay, there's one point he's sitting there talking to Ava. He's like, oh, you really think that, I'm the only person that's going to go down or whatever? Like, he's not going to find out that you helped me or whatever. And Ava was like, are you kidding me? You really going to sit there and drag me down? And granted, I don't think that's what it was. I don't think that he was sitting there trying to drag her down. Because, I mean, let's be honest. Once Sonny is done with Julian, what makes you sit there and think that he's not going to be like, Ava, I'm pretty sure you knew about this. So either, I'm going to, eliminate you, or you're never going to see Avery ever again. But yeah, Julian's just, my goodness. I don't know what Julian's going to do. I mean, even if he does go to Windermere for a little bit, what's to stop anyone from going there? It's the first place everyone's going to sit there and look. Oh, there's thousands of rooms or whatever. Okay, it's going to take a little bit, but you don't think they're going to have eyes on that damn island the minute he steps off of Spoon Island? They're not going to sit there and take him out? Like, honestly, to tell the truth, I don't know what that character's going to do, but, which brings me to the question, are they going to actually kill off Julian? Or are they just, are they going to actually kill off Julian's character, or they're just going to replace him? I don't know. This whole thing is crazy. Anyway, with that being said, let me know what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Because not only do I enjoy reading the comments, but it does give me a different perspective, and it makes me sit there and think of, okay, that's interesting. Think of it that way. And yeah, anyway, with that being said, thank you for watching. Have a good day or good night. Really appreciate the watching my videos. Everyone who's watching it, thank you.